For someone who is just maybe beginning on their journey and not really in the state of innovation, because I feel like there's a lot of healers, there's a lot of practitioners in this community, but there's actually a lot of beginners as well, a lot of spiritual starters. You have a very beautiful multidimensional practice with yoga therapy and meditation and breath work. If someone is feeling stuck and anxious and just like overwhelmed overall, what is your recommendation? Where does one begin?
Yeah, stuck and anxious. Yeah, I probably wouldn't begin with the mind. I would probably begin with the body. And what I mean by that is developing a meditation practice from that place of stuck and anxious, potentially stressed and overwhelmed, is not going to be it's not going to be sustainable. So figuring out
Mhm.
ways to care for and listen and tend to the physical body. And that's why I think yoga is such a wonderful gateway into meditation and breath. I think starting with breath work would also be a little intimidating because when we're in a stress, anxious, overwhelmed, nervous system is triggered, our breath isn't full and free. So to start looking
Mhm.
at the breath and looking at the mind when you're in that agitated place is going to make you go, no, thank you. I'll do anything other than look at what's going on in the present moment. So, but your body
Mhm.
is always here in the present moment. Your body is always talking to you. And if you can build this really lovely, compassionate, kind relationship to your physical body, and whether that's through a movement practice, once again, there's a bit of discipline that needs to happen there. If you want to make some shifts, maybe it's a weekly yoga practice that you're committing to. Possibly it begins with a massage, a hot bath,
Mm.
like something to care for the physical body is where I would begin. But it's never one size fits all. We all have different wants and needs. So it's a bit of like, I would work with a client to figure out what does that mean for you? But I would start with the body.
Mhm. How would you describe your approach to yoga therapy? I feel like I personally have never even, I mean, I've been doing yoga for, gosh, like 15 years, I feel like at this point, but it's obviously such a therapeutic practice because we compartmentalize so much energy and emotions in our body, and our body holds so much wisdom. It talks to us, it speaks to us, but I've never really heard the terminology yoga therapy. Can you dive more into your process with that, what that actually looks like?
Totally, totally. And I'm not like super jazzed about like titles and like
Mm,
I
same.
think, you know, I did this whole yoga therapy program for the knowledge, and then at the end you get this stamp of you are an IAYT yoga therapist, and like
Mhm.
congratulations. And when I say I'm a yoga therapist, you're like, what? Isn't yoga therapeutic? They have this similar response, like yoga's therapeutic. Why are you a yoga therapist? So it actually is a funny one and a super valid question. And basically, the differentiation of the way that we work is yoga therapy does intake. So in the way that we would, go to a doctor and fill out an intake form, if you and I were doing a yoga therapy session, I would have you fill out an intake form. There would be some
Mm.
conversation, and it'd be a one-on-one private session where we're tailoring the practice to meet your specific wants and needs, what's going on, not just on your physical level, but mental, emotional, all the different like layers, koshas of your being. And so it's
Mm.
much more specific because in a group yoga class, you can't possibly give everybody what they need and what they want. It's a bit more generalized. So the yoga therapy takes it way more specifically, and it does broaden the scope of what we would do. So in a session, I would do breath work with you, I would do meditation, I would do yoga, I would do massage, I would probably bring my sound healing instruments in, excuse me, and do some sound healing. And then we would have time to talk. And a lot of the integration happens in the talking, as you would know. It's like almost, I can't call myself a therapist, but there's elements of more like CBT or, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm. Oh, and I bet there's parallels, although every client is probably so different. I bet there's parallels with what unearths in the physical body. That makes so much sense. Like you have to, obviously what we were saying before, you have to feel safe. And so through movement, you're opening up your physical body, but also your mental and emotional. And I'm sure, wow, what a beautiful holistic process. I feel like I need
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, it's a
That's
beautiful
incredible.
process. And I think, I'm super excited about the future of yoga therapy because we're starting to show up in like hospital settings and working alongside Western medicine doctors and other, physical therapists and massage therapists. And when you can work as a team and
Hmm.
communicate as a team about what this one patient is experiencing from all these different lenses, it's so powerful. Oh my gosh. Because
Hmm.
each lens has something to
Right.
offer. And if you can put them all together, it can really help somebody, I don't know, gain all that different information.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's such a deep mind body connection that I've built just through moving my body and even just through like Pilates and yoga, like actually connecting like with pure intention, my mind to every single movement, I swear has like sculpted my body in a different way. And I think that just shows how powerful like that connection really is.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And I have a client who, I mean, we've worked twice a week, every week for like 5 years. She is physically like so fit. And she also, her practice is divine. But she just found out, and I'm obviously not going to disclose too much information, but she's just found out
Hmm.
like some really deep abdominal muscle is like not triggering. And so now that I've had this information from this doctor with a scan and things that I can't do or diagnose, we're now able to work on like these deep muscles, finding activation there as we can relax other muscles and getting into the more subtlety of everything by increasing that body awareness. I mean, stuff like that really
Hmm.
excites me.
Yeah, I feel like there's this whole collective movement towards just more intuitive or intentional movement, even with body mapping. Do you use Louise Hay's body map at all, or just like believe in the power that emotions are held in unique circumstances in the body? Like, do you integrate that into your work?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Big time.
It's
I mean,
fascinating.
I haven't done like so much of the body mapping, but that concept of emotions being held in the body and the power of affirmations on that, huge. I mean, I've had so much of my own experience prove to me that like that is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the first time, actually throughout my entire spiritual journey, I feel like I am writing down affirmations every single morning, and I've always kind of thought of it as a spiritual bypass, frankly. And I've found that it's actually really rewiring my subconscious. And I think it's really, really powerful when you come to a place where you're open to that belief. I think there's a
Hmm.
study from Waterloo that says that, if you're reciting affirmations and you actually don't believe that they are true within your core, it can actually do yourself and your body a disservice. It can actually do the opposite effect than putting you in a positive mindset. And so I think you also
Hmm.
have to be open to the possibility that these things are true, but affirmations have played a really powerful role in just like my morning rituals and routines right now.
Hmm, yeah, and like the more you play with affirmations and exactly to your point, like open yourself up to believing that to be true. Like let's just say,
Hmm.
I trust the timing of my life. Like that's one I always return to. I trust the timing of my life. It's
Mm.
just a gorgeous way to like see what redirecting your brain, redirecting the mind, rewiring the mind in real time, how that can affect your physical body. And if when I repeat that,
Hmm.
I trust the timing of my life. I trust the timing of my life. Like it releases pressure from my chest. It grounds my
Hmm.
hips into the earth. And then all the other systems can start to work. And then when you notice that relationship of thought and body, you can play with that in
Hmm.
other scenarios. Like I was in a meditation class the other day, and as we were sitting in silence, there was annoying like car horn and ambulance and like all these sounds from outside. And we were talking about like, what does your mind do when there's unpleasant sounds and you're meditating? Like, how annoying is that? Especially when you can't control the sound. Like,
Mm.
what goes on? We were just kind of sharing. And then the meditation teacher was like, I have a little hack. And sometimes I visualize like that ambulance is somebody that's having a baby, or that like car is somebody who is, I don't know. And she puts like a positive scenario in that situation, in that car, and then becomes
Mm-hmm.
something that's like no longer scary or annoying, and something that becomes a beautiful thought. And so I started playing with that, with specifically with sounds. And like I was sitting in meditation with all these different sounds, and I was picturing it being like a really cool ambient soundscapey, very artistic music piece. And then I treated it
Mm.
like that, and my whole experience was one of closed, constricted anxiety, tension, trying to control what the hell is that sound? I don't want that sound, to opening up to, wow, what is that interesting noise? Where is it coming from?
Mm.
Curiosity. So it took me from judgment to curiosity, which is from constriction to openness to spaciousness. Hence the reason why this is the space. You know, my studio in London is
Mm.
because I love what meditation, yoga, sound, breathwork can do in a physical and mental way of creating space. And so that concept of
Mm.
affirmations is just training your mind to rewire the mind to then go to like not fear, but go to curiosity, go to openness, go to trust. And the more you do that, is a game changer. Absolute game changer.
Oh my gosh. That was so beautiful. I do a similar thing when there's a siren. I mean, living in New York City, as you know, there's sirens, every other minute. And I feel like I always send love. Like if it's always like really
Hmm.
annoying me, I'm like, I need to send love because someone is hurting and someone is in danger. And I feel like that gentle reframe like helps self-soothe a little bit.